Well, hi everybody. I'm really excited that you're going to be joining on this Gather group journey. I'm sitting here in my own living room. I thought this would be a great place to talk with you a little bit about Gather groups. This is the place where my Gather group has met for the last year. You can tell it's not very big, but it is nice and cozy. And this year, I'm going to be expanding my group. We're going to have 8 people meeting here every other Monday night. The introvert in me really has these moments before the women who are in my Gather group arrive, where I just think to myself, why am I doing this? And maybe you're thinking that too. Maybe you're thinking, why am I doing this? But rarely do I feel that as we're saying goodbye at the door. Often I feel filled. I feel full of renewed energy and purpose and inspiration and encouragement, having been together in a group. And I realized that, yeah, sometimes when you invest in those hard things, a really beautiful fruit can come out of it. So with that being said, I just want to dive in and talk a little bit around expectations for participants in Gather groups, because the reality is that you can't get something for nothing in today's day and age. And so if you're expecting something out of a Gather group, you're going to have to invest in that Gather group as well. And so here are some expectations for our participants. The first one is really simple. Show up. And by showing up, I don't mean just come to each meeting. I mean show up emotionally, physically, spiritually. There's that investment factor again. When we invest in those relationships, we see them grow. And our willingness to share about how God is at work in our lives, the struggles that we're facing, sharing a healthy level of vulnerability will serve to build trust amongst your group. Simply put, whatever you put in is what you will get out. So I encourage you to show up. The second is to serve one another. All Gather group participants should be on both the giving and receiving end of loving kindness and service to one another. That means showing up in discussion, being relational with the people that are in your group, demonstrating a healthy level of vulnerability, and contributing to the group, demonstrating respect for one another. It's the job of the entire group to ensure that there is a safe environment that is non-judgmental, where people feel free and open to share what they're going through or to share their perspectives. Now, this safety isn't just an end in and of itself. Rather, it's a way that we can generate growth. You don't have to agree with everything that everybody says, but consider their perspective, where they might be coming from, what experiences may have led them to those conclusions, and you might find that you learn from somebody even if you don't necessarily agree with them. Another key of respect within discussions is to ensure that you're not dominating the conversation. We've all been in those groups where somebody just continually talks. Allow for those places of silence. It might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but somebody who's a little bit more introspective or reflective might be preparing an answer in their mind in those moments. So get a little bit comfortable with the uncomfortableness of silence. And that's a great way that you can demonstrate respect for those individuals in your group that maybe need those extra couple of moments to pause and think before answering and responding. And the final thing, number 4, is to maintain confidentiality. As you begin gathering together and talking about faith and God and your experiences, undoubtedly there might be some things that come up that somebody is going through that might be quite painful of an experience. So we want to ensure that this space is a place where they can share freely, where they can receive encouragement, and where they know that what they say will not get spread around. So just like Vegas, whatever happens in a Gather group stays within a Gather group. Now, of course, there's always exceptions to that rule, particularly if it seems that somebody might want to harm themselves or might want to harm others. In those instances, that information should always be shared. And just a final word. I think often we have these expectations going into small groups where there's going to be this amazing experience. Maybe you saw Oliver and Laura's story or Jason's story where they shared a little bit about their gather group experience, and those are really beautiful. But the reality is that sometimes the chemistry and the synergy between the people just isn't there. And so going in, I just want to say, have expectations for how God is going to grow you and use you to serve others and to grow and develop in your own faith. But go in with expectations not of how He's going to make that happen. So with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your interest in being part of a gather group. There is beautiful reward in investing in relationships with other people, in investing in your relationship with God. And I can speak from experience that it's not always easy, but it is always beautiful.